Okay, so here's something wild. Studies show that some people will check their phone over 260 times a day. That's once every 5.5 minutes. And we wonder why we can't focus.
Oh wow, that's staggering. And honestly, it makes so much sense. It feels like we're constantly being pulled in 100 different directions, even when we're not trying to be.
Exactly. And the thing is, when people feel like they can't focus, the first instinct is to blame themselves. We think, I need to be more disciplined, or I just need to try harder. But what if the problem isn't us?
That's such a big question, because we've been conditioned to think that focus is all about willpower, right? Like, if you can't concentrate, it's because you're not trying hard enough. But what if that's not true?
That's exactly what we're diving into today. The idea that focus isn't just about personal effort, it's about the environment we're operating in. And when you start to see it that way, it changes everything.
It really does. So let's break this down. When we talk about environment, we're not just talking about the physical space you're in, are we?
No, it's much broader than that. It's everything that surrounds your attention. Your phone, your apps, your notifications, your workspace, the information you're exposed to, even the expectations placed on you by others. It's not just physical, it's digital, cognitive, and behavioural.
And all of those things are constantly competing for your attention. It's not like they're just sitting there passively. They're actively trying to pull you in.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. They're designed to win. Your environment isn't neutral. It's competitive. Multiple systems are vying for the same resource, your attention, and they're optimized to capture it.
So when someone says, I just can't focus, what they're really describing is the result of being in an environment that's in constant competition for their attention.
Right? It's not about lacking willpower. It's about being in a high competition environment where your attention is being pulled in every direction. And the more you're exposed to those constant interruptions, the more your brain adapts to them.
That's such an important point, because if your brain starts to expect interruptions, it's going to seek them out, even when they're not there.
Exactly. That's why people pick up their phones without even thinking about it. It's not a conscious decision, it's a learned response. Your brain has been conditioned to seek out novelty and engagement.
So what we often experience as a lack of focus isn't a personal flaw at all, it's a conditioned behaviour, something that's been shaped by repeated exposure to a certain kind of environment.
And that's such a game changer. Because if the issue isn't about personal discipline, then the solution isn't about trying harder. It's about changing the conditions you're operating in.
Right? And that's where most people get stuck. They try to fix the problem by doubling down on effort. More discipline, more restrictions, more force. But if the environment stays the same, the behaviour comes back.
Exactly. It's like trying to swim upstream in a river that's constantly pulling you in the opposite direction. It's exhausting and it's unsustainable.
So let's talk about those conditions. What specifically about modern environments makes them so difficult for focus?
There are 3 big factors. The first is constant availability. You're always reachable. Messages can come in at any time. Notifications can pop up whenever. Your attention is never fully yours because it's always potentially being interrupted.
That's huge. And it's something we've normalised, right? Like, it's just expected that you're always on, always reachable.
Exactly. The second factor is endless content. There's always something new, something interesting, something more engaging than whatever you're currently doing. There's always an alternative.
And that makes it really hard to stick with anything that requires sustained effort. Why focus on something challenging when there's an endless stream of easier, more entertaining options?
Exactly. And the third factor is variable reward. Sometimes the content you engage with is valuable or entertaining, and sometimes it's not. But you don't know which it'll be until you check. That unpredictability keeps you coming back.
It's like a slot machine. You keep pulling the lever because maybe, just maybe, this time it'll be worth it.
Exactly. And that unpredictability is incredibly powerful. It creates a loop. You keep returning to check just in case there's something worth seeing.
So when you combine constant availability, endless content, and variable reward, you get an environment that's almost impossible to focus within. Not because people are weak, but because the system is so strong.
That's exactly it. And it's such an important shift in perspective. It's not about personal failure. It's about the strength of the system you're up against.
So if someone is operating in that kind of environment every day, what does it do to their ability to focus over time?
It gradually reduces it. Because the brain adapts to the conditions it's placed in. Focus isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something that's shaped by your environment.
Which also means it can be rebuilt, but only if the conditions change.
Exactly. And that's the mistake most people make when they try to improve their focus. They focus on changing their behaviour without changing the environment.
So they rely on willpower, which is exhausting and unsustainable.
Right. Instead of fighting against distractions, the better approach is to reduce the friction, change the conditions, make focus easier instead of forcing it.
That sounds so obvious when you say it like that.
It does, but most people don't think that way. They think in terms of effort, not structure.
So if someone listening feels like they can't focus, what's the real takeaway?
Nothing is wrong with you. You're responding to your environment. And if you change the environment, your ability to focus changes with it.
Not instantly, but consistently. And that's what really matters.
Exactly. It's about creating the conditions for focus, rather than trying to will yourself into it.
That's such a powerful shift. And I think it's something we all need to hear, especially in a world that's so demanding of our attention.
Absolutely. And the good news is focus isn't fixed. It's flexible. It's something that can be strengthened, one small change at a time.
So what's the first step someone should take if they want to improve their focus?
Stop blaming yourself. That's the first step. Once you understand that the issue isn't you, you can start to adjust the environment. Instead of asking, how do I focus more? Ask, how do I make focus easier?
And that's such a simple but profound shift. It's not about more effort, it's about less interference.
Exactly. And when you start to think that way, you realise that focus isn't something you force, it's something you create. If you want to learn more about yourself, visit www.modernlifeskillsacademy.com. You'll find more podcasts, audiobooks, videos, blogs, and a lot more to help you keep developing and moving forward.